My daughter called me crying and said, "Don't come over." So I went anyway. The lights were on. The house was quiet. On the table was a letter with my name misspelled. The phone call came at 9:47 on a Tuesday night. I was watching the end of a baseball game I didn't care about, drinking the last beer from a six-pack I'd opened 3 days earlier. Emma's name lit up my screen, and I answered before the second ring. "Dad!" Her voice was wet, choked. "Dad, please don't come over." My hand was already reaching for my keys. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, I can't see you right now. Please." "Emma, talk to me." "I have to go." A shuffling sound, someone else in the room. "Just don't come tonight, promise me." She hung up before I could answer. I was in my truck 30 seconds later. The drive to her house took 18 minutes. I counted every one of them. Emma lived in a neighborhood nicer than mine, the kind of place where people paid lawn services to keep their grass the exact same height as their neighbors. Her house was a 2-story colonial with white shutters and a front porch I'd helped her husband install 2 summers ago. We'd worked side by side in the heat, him holding boards steady while I measured and cut. He'd bought us sandwiches for lunch. We'd laughed about something I couldn't remember anymore. All the lights were on when I pulled up. Every single window glowed yellow against the dark street. Emma's car sat in the driveway. Her husband's truck was there too, parked at an angle like he'd been in a hurry. I knocked, waited, knocked again. The door wasn't locked. "Emma?" I pushed it open. "It's me." The house was clean. Too clean. The kind of clean that happens when you're expecting company you want to impress. The living room looked like a furniture store display. The couch cushions were arranged perfectly. The throw pillows sat at precise angles. A candle burned on the coffee table, filling the air with fake vanilla. No one answered. I walked through the living room into the kitchen. The lights were on here too, bright enough to make me squint. The counters were empty except for a coffee maker and a wooden knife block. The sink was dry, no dishes, no cups, nothing out of place. That's when I saw the letter. It sat in the exact center of the kitchen table, a white envelope with my name written on it in black ink. Except it wasn't quite my name. They'd spelled it Daniel instead of Daniel. The second I was missing. I picked it up. The envelope was thick, expensive paper, the kind you buy for wedding invitations. My hands were shaking a little as I opened it. The letter inside was typed, single-spaced, no signature. "Daniel, we think it's best if you give Emma and Trevor some space right now. They need time to work on their marriage without outside interference. Please respect their wishes and don't contact them for a while. They'll reach out when they're ready. Thank you for understanding." Outside interference. I read it 3 times. The words didn't change. "Emma?" I called again, louder this time. "Trevor?" Nothing. I walked to the bottom of the stairs. The lights were on up there too. I could see the glow from the second-floor landing. "If you're up there, I'm coming up." My footsteps sounded too loud on the hardwood. The stairs creaked under my weight. I'd never noticed that before. Emma and Trevor's bedroom door was closed. So was the guest room. The bathroom door stood open, light spilling out into the hallway. I checked the bathroom first. Empty. Clean. The towels were folded and hanging perfectly straight on the racks. I knocked on the bedroom door. "Emma, it's Dad. I'm coming in." The door swung open. The bed was made. The curtains were drawn. Emma's jewelry box sat on the dresser, closed. Trevor's watch collection was displayed in its case next to it. Everything in its place. Nobody home. I checked the guest room. Nothing. The closets. Nothing. Back downstairs, I looked out the sliding glass door to the backyard. The porch light was on, showing me an empty deck and a lawn that had been mowed recently. The shadows of the fence posts stretched long across the grass. I went back to the kitchen and picked up the letter again. Danielle. My daughter had known how to spell my name since she was 6 years old. I'd watched her practice writing it in crayon, tongue stuck out in concentration, getting every letter right. She'd made me a Father's Day card that year with my name in big bubble letters she'd colored in with marker. She didn't write this letter. I pulled out my phone and called her. It rang 4 times and went to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. I sent a text. I'm at your house. Where are you? 3 dots appeared, like she was typing. Then they disappeared. Then they appeared again. Finally. I told you not to come. Where are you? It doesn't matter. Emma, what's going on? The dots appeared and disappeared 3 more times. When her message finally came through, it was just 2 words. Go home. I called Trevor. It went straight to voicemail, like he'd turned his phone off. I stood in the kitchen for another minute, looking around. Everything was so perfectly arranged, so carefully staged. The candle burning, the lights on, the spotless counters. It was like they'd known I was coming. I took the letter with me when I left. I didn't lock the door behind me. It hadn't been locked when I got there. The drive home felt longer than 18 minutes. I kept checking my mirrors, expecting to see Emma's car following me, or Trevor's truck. The roads were empty. The streetlights made everything look orange and strange. My house was dark when I got there. I'd left in such a hurry I'd forgotten to turn on any lights. I sat in the truck in my driveway for a while, engine off, looking at the letter in my lap. Outside interference. I'd been going to dinner at Emma's house every Sunday for the past 2 years. She'd started the tradition after Trevor proposed, said she wanted us all to be close. I'd sit at their table and she'd serve pot roast or chicken or pasta, and we'd talk about their plans for the future. They wanted to start a family soon. They were thinking about buying a bigger house. Trevor had gotten a promotion at work. Last Sunday, Emma had canceled, said they weren't feeling well. The Sunday before that, they'd seemed distracted. Trevor had checked his phone every 5 minutes. Emma had barely touched her food. The Sunday before that, I couldn't remember. Had we had dinner? I thought we had, but I couldn't picture it. Inside my house, I turned on all the lights, every single one. I put the letter on my own kitchen table and looked at it. The misspelled name stared back at me. Someone had typed this, printed it, sealed it in an expensive envelope, put it on the table in Emma's kitchen, timed it perfectly so I'd find it when I came looking for her. They'd known I'd come, even after she told me not to. I made coffee even though it was almost 11 at night. I wasn't going to sleep anyway. While it brewed, I walked through my house room by room, turning on every lamp, every overhead light. I wanted it bright. I wanted to see everything clearly. In my bedroom, I opened the closet and pulled out a box from the top shelf. Photo albums. I hadn't looked at these in years. I brought them out to the kitchen table and opened the first one while my coffee got cold in its cup. Emma as a baby. Emma's first birthday. Emma's first day of school. Me and her at the zoo. Me and her at a baseball game. Me and her at her high school graduation. Her mother wasn't in any of these pictures. I'd taken her out years ago, cut her carefully out of every photo after the divorce. Emma had been 12. She'd chosen to live with me. The court had allowed it. I turned pages. Emma in college. Emma with friends I didn't recognize. Emma with a young man I didn't recognize. Emma with Trevor, early photos from when they'd first started dating. She looked happy in these. They both did. The later photos showed their engagement, their wedding. I was in some of these, standing next to Emma in my rented tux, giving her away, shaking Trevor's hand. In every wedding photo, my smile looked strained. I'd thought I'd hidden it better. I closed the album and picked up my phone. No new messages from Emma. I tried calling her again. Voicemail. I sent another text. I need to know you're safe. This time she answered right away. I'm fine, stop calling. Where are you? With Trevor, we're staying somewhere else tonight. Why? She didn't answer that. I waited 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. I pulled up Trevor's Facebook page on my phone. His last post was from 3 days ago. A photo of him and Emma at some restaurant I didn't recognize. They were holding wine glasses, smiling at the camera. The caption said, "Date night with my beautiful wife." 43 people had liked it. I hadn't seen it until now. I scrolled back through his timeline. More photos of him and Emma, posts about work, shares of news articles and funny videos. Nothing unusual. Nothing that suggested anything was wrong. But 3 weeks ago, he'd posted a link to an article about setting healthy boundaries with family members. The headline was something about protecting your marriage from toxic parents. He hadn't written any caption, just shared it. 7 people had liked that post. One of them was Emma. I read the article. It was exactly what you'd expect. Generic advice about communication and respect and knowing when to step back. Nothing revolutionary. The kind of thing people share when they want to make a point without saying it directly. I went back further. 2 months ago, Trevor had posted a quote. "Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who hurt you the worst." 9 likes. Emma had liked that one too. I closed Facebook and opened Emma's page. Her privacy settings were locked down. I could only see what she'd chosen to share publicly. Her profile picture was from the wedding. Her cover photo was a sunset. Her last public post was from 6 months ago, a shared link to a charity fundraiser. Nothing personal, nothing revealing. I tried to remember the last real conversation I'd had with my daughter. Not small talk over dinner, not logistics about scheduling or plans. A real conversation where she'd told me something that mattered. I couldn't. The coffee was definitely cold now. I dumped it in the sink and made a fresh cup. It was past midnight. The house was too bright, too quiet. I sat back down at the table and looked at the letter again. My misspelled name. Someone had written this. Someone who knew me well enough to predict I'd come to Emma's house. Someone who knew her well enough to stage the whole scene. Someone who wanted me to get a specific message. Not Emma. She would have spelled my name right. Trevor? Maybe. Probably. He'd been the one making more and more decisions for both of them lately. Emma used to call me directly to plan Sunday dinners. Then it became, "I'll have to check with Trevor first." Then it became Trevor calling me instead, saying they couldn't make it this week, maybe next week he'd let me know. But Trevor's handwriting was messy, all capital letters crammed together. This envelope was neat, careful, the kind of handwriting people use when they want to make a good impression. I got up and checked my front door, made sure it was locked, then the back door, then the windows. Everything secure. But I felt exposed somehow, like I was being watched. I pulled out the yellow pages from the drawer where I kept old takeout menus and warranties for appliances. Found a locksmith that advertised 24-hour emergency service. I called and told them I needed my locks changed in the morning. They said they could send someone at 8. "How many locks?" the woman on the phone asked. "All of them," I said. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table and watched the clock. At 3 in the morning, I got up and walked through the house again, checking every room, every closet, every corner. Looking for what? I don't know. Evidence. Proof. Something that would make sense of the letter with my name spelled wrong. At 5, I made more coffee and scrambled some eggs I didn't eat. At 6, the sun started to rise. I turned off all the lights in the house except the kitchen. At 7, I took a shower and put on clean clothes. The locksmith showed up at 8:15, a young guy with a toolbox and a clipboard. "Changing all the locks, huh?" he said. "Bad breakup?" Something like that. He didn't ask questions after that. Just worked his way through the house, drilling out old locks, installing new ones. It took him 2 hours. When he was done, I had 5 new keys on a shiny ring. "You'll want to make copies," he said, "in case you lose these." "I won't lose these." After he left, I sat back down at the kitchen table with the letter. I read it again, counting the words this time. 43 words total. Typed. Impersonal. No signature. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Dad, I know you're upset, but you need to respect our decision. Trevor and I need time to work on our relationship without you constantly being around. Please give us space. I read it 3 times. The words were formal, careful. Not how Emma usually texted. She used abbreviations, emojis, exclamation points. This sounded like someone else writing for her. I typed back, "Did you write the letter?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. What letter? The one on your kitchen table, the one that spelled my name wrong. Long pause. Finally, just give us space, Dad, please. Did Trevor write it? She didn't answer. I called her. Voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. I drove back to her house. All the lights were off now. Both cars were gone. I tried the front door, locked this time. I walked around to the back. The sliding glass door was locked too. I stood in their backyard for a long time, looking at the empty deck, the perfect lawn. A neighbor 2 houses down was mowing his grass. He waved at me. I waved back. Everything looked normal. Everything looked fine. I drove home and changed the SIM card in my phone, something I'd learned to do when I worked in tech support years ago. Then I created a new email address and sent a message to myself at my old address, testing to see if it would go through. It did. I opened a new browser window and searched for Emma's name. A few old social media profiles came up. Nothing recent. I searched for Trevor's name. Same thing. I searched for both their names together. The first result was their wedding website, still live after 2 years. Photos from the ceremony, photos from the reception, a timeline of their relationship, a registry that had been fulfilled. There was a guest book where people had left messages. I scrolled through them. Congratulations. Best wishes. So happy for you both. The usual wedding sentiments. Near the bottom, someone had written, Daniel, you raised an amazing daughter. You must be so proud. I didn't remember reading that at the time. I didn't recognize the name of the person who wrote it. I closed the laptop and sat in the silence of my too bright house, holding 5 new keys that only I had copies of, thinking about a letter with my name spelled wrong by someone who knew me well enough to know I'd come looking anyway. The thing about being underestimated is that nobody tells you it's happening. You just notice, gradually, that your words carry less weight, that your opinions get overlooked, that people start making decisions without consulting you, then tell you about them afterward, like it's already settled. I'd been noticing it with Emma for months, maybe longer. I just hadn't wanted to see it. Thursday morning, I drove to the hardware store where I used to work before I retired. The owner, Phil, still kept my employee discount active. He said it was because I'd been there 23 years, but I think it was because he felt bad about how they'd pushed me out. They hadn't fired me. They'd just made it clear the younger guys could do my job faster, with better technology, for less money. So I'd retired early at 61 and tried not to be bitter about it. Phil was at the register when I walked in. He looked up, recognized me, smiled. Daniel, haven't seen you in a while. How's retirement treating you? Can't complain, need some supplies. Sure. What are you working on? Home security, I said. I bought motion sensor lights for the front and back of my house, a doorbell camera, a safe for important documents, heavy-duty locks for my shed. Phil rang everything up without asking questions, but I could see him wondering. Everything okay? He finally said. Just being careful. He nodded like that made sense. Maybe it did. Your daughter doing well? Emma, right? She's fine. Married now, isn't she? I remember you talking about the wedding. 2 years ago. Time flies. Her husband seemed like a good guy. You brought him in here once, didn't you? Bought supplies for that deck project? I'd forgotten about that. Trevor and I had come here together, walked the aisles while I explained the difference between pressure-treated and cedar, showed him how to pick straight boards. He'd listened carefully, asked good questions, bought me lunch afterward at the diner down the street. That was 2 years ago. Different Trevor. Or maybe the same Trevor, just better at hiding it. Yeah, I said. That was him. Phil handed me my receipt. Well, give Emma my best. Tell her congratulations on the house and all that. It's a nice place. How do you know where she lives? Phil blinked. You told me, I think. Or maybe I saw it on Facebook. I'm friends with her, I think. You know how it is. You friend everyone. I didn't know Phil was friends with Emma on Facebook. I didn't know they had any connection at all besides me. Right, I said. I'll tell her. I loaded the supplies into my truck and sat in the parking lot for a while, scrolling through Emma's Facebook friends list. It was private, but I could see the count. 473 friends. I had no idea who most of them were. I tried to remember the last time Emma had told me about her life. Really told me, not just surface details. When she was younger, she used to talk to me about everything. Problems with friends, worries about school, dreams about the future. We'd sit at the kitchen table and she'd tell me everything, and I'd listen and give advice when she asked for it. When did that stop? When she went to college? When she met Trevor? When she got married? Or earlier? I drove to a coffee shop I'd never been to before, one across town where nobody knew me. I ordered a black coffee and sat in the corner with my laptop. Created a new email address with a name that wasn't mine. Then I sent a message to Emma's personal email, the one she'd had since high school. Emma, I need to talk to you. In person. Just the two of us. Please. I didn't sign it with my name. Just left it blank. Then I waited. An hour passed. 2. I drank 3 cups of coffee and ate a stale muffin. My phone stayed silent. Finally, my laptop chimed. New email. But it wasn't from Emma. It was from Trevor, from his work email address. Daniel, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish, but you need to stop. Emma doesn't want to see you right now. I don't want you contacting her. If you keep this up, we're going to have to take legal action. I'm serious. Leave us alone. I read it twice. Legal action. He was serious. I wrote back from the anonymous email. I'm her father. His response came fast. That doesn't give you the right to harass her. Stop. Now. I closed the laptop. Harassment. That's what we were calling it now. I sat in the coffee shop until they closed at 9, watching people come and go, trying to figure out when everything had gone wrong. When had I become the problem? What had I done that was so terrible it required legal action? I couldn't think of anything. But maybe that was the point. Maybe I'd been the problem for so long I didn't even notice anymore. At home, I installed the motion sensor lights, mounted the doorbell camera, positioned it so I could see anyone who came to my front door. The app on my phone showed me a live feed of my empty porch. I moved the important documents into the safe. Birth certificate, social security card, passport, the deed to my house, Emma's birth certificate, photos of her as a child, the album from her wedding. Then I sat at my kitchen table and wrote down everything I could remember from the past 6 months. Every conversation with Emma, every dinner, every phone call, every text message. The list was shorter than I expected. Sunday dinners had become irregular. Phone calls were brief, usually about logistics. Text messages were sparse. One-word responses. Okay. Sure. Can't. I'd thought she was busy. Newlyweds focusing on their marriage, building their life together. I'd tried to give them space. Maybe I'd given them too much space. Or not enough. I didn't know anymore. At midnight, I got another email from Trevor. This one was longer. Daniel, I'm trying to be patient here, but you're making this really difficult. Emma and I have talked about this extensively. She feels like you've been overbearing and controlling. You call all the time. You show up unannounced. You have opinions about everything we do. She needs distance from that. We both do. This isn't personal. This is about our marriage and our mental health. If you really care about Emma, you'll respect her wishes and back off. I'm asking you nicely. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. overbearing, controlling, show up unannounced. I'd gone to her house twice this week, once when she called crying, once to check on her. That was it. I'd called her maybe 5 times, sent a handful of texts, unless he was talking about something else, months of something I hadn't realized I was doing. I wrote back, "Can I talk to Emma directly? Hear this from her?" No response. I waited an hour. Nothing. Friday morning, I drove to Emma's house again. I didn't care anymore if Trevor thought it was harassment. I needed to see her, talk to her face to face, make sure she was actually okay and not just saying what Trevor wanted her to say. Both cars were in the driveway. Good. They were home. I knocked on the front door, waited, knocked again. Trevor opened it. He looked tired, wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt, coffee cup in his hand. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" "I need to talk to Emma. She doesn't want to talk to you." "Let her tell me that herself." "She's asleep. Then I'll wait." Trevor sighed. He stepped out onto the porch and closed the door behind him. "Look, I get it. This is hard for you. But you need to understand that Emma is an adult. She can make her own decisions, and right now, she's decided she needs space from you." "Why?" "I just told you why. You're overbearing. You're controlling. You don't respect boundaries." "Give me examples." He looked at me like I'd asked something ridiculous. "You want examples? Fine. You call every day, sometimes multiple times. You show up unannounced. You have opinions about our furniture, our jobs, our plans for the future. You make comments about how we spend our money. You question every decision we make. Emma feels like she can't breathe without you weighing in on it." I was trying to be helpful. It's not helpful. It's suffocating. I looked past him at the closed door. I want to hear this from Emma. "You can't. She's made herself clear. I'm telling you what she told me." "Put her on the phone." "No." We stood there staring at each other. Trevor was younger than me by 30 years, stronger, but he was holding his coffee cup with both hands, like he needed something to anchor himself. "Did you write that letter?" I asked. "What letter?" "The one on your kitchen table Tuesday night, the one that spelled my name wrong." Trevor's face did something complicated. Surprise, then calculation, then a careful neutral expression. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Someone left me a letter, told me to stay away, spelled my name Daniel. It wasn't me." "Then who was it?" "I have no idea." He took a sip of coffee. "But whoever it was, they're right. You should stay away. Let me talk to Emma." "No. I'll wait here all day if I have to. Then I'll call the police." "And tell them what? Her father wants to talk to her?" "I'll tell them you're trespassing, that you've been asked to leave multiple times and won't, that you're harassing us." The word again. Harassment. "I'm not harassing anyone. I'm checking on my daughter." "Your daughter is fine. She's safe. She's happy. And she doesn't want to see you right now. So please, Daniel, just go home." I looked at him for a long moment, tried to see past the polite concern on his face, tried to figure out if he was protecting Emma or protecting something else. "If I find out you're manipulating her," I started. "I'm not manipulating anyone. Emma makes her own choices. This is her choice, not mine. Let me hear her say it." "No." He went back inside and closed the door. I heard the lock click. I stood on the porch for another minute, then walked back to my truck. Sat in the driver's seat, watched the house. 10 minutes later, a curtain on the second floor moved. Someone was looking down at me, too far away to see clearly, but I thought it might be Emma. I waved. The curtain fell back into place. I waited another hour. Nobody came outside. Nobody opened the door. The house just sat there, windows blank, perfectly landscaped lawn, looking exactly like every other house on the street. Finally, I drove home. That afternoon, I went to my bank and withdrew $5,000 in cash, put it in the safe with my documents. Then I made copies of everything important: birth certificates, deeds, insurance policies, marriage license from my divorce, the custody agreement that gave me full custody of Emma when she was 12. I put the copies in a waterproof bag and buried it in my backyard, under the shed, where nobody would think to look. Then I made a list of every person who might know what was going on: Emma's friends from high school, her college roommate, her aunt, my sister, who lived 3 states away, people from her wedding, Trevor's family. I started calling. Emma's best friend from high school, Jessica, answered on the 3rd ring. "Mr. Brennan? Hi, is everything okay?" "I'm trying to reach Emma. She's not answering her phone." "Oh, I haven't talked to her in a while, actually. Maybe a few months? We kind of lost touch after she got married. Do you know if something's wrong? If she's okay?" A pause. "Is there a reason she wouldn't be?" "I just want to make sure." "Have you tried calling her?" "She's not answering." Another pause, longer this time. "Mr. Brennan, I really don't know anything. Emma and I aren't close anymore. I'm sorry." She hung up before I could ask anything else. I tried Emma's college roommate next. Same result. She hadn't talked to Emma in over a year, didn't know anything about any problems. My sister answered with a sigh. "Daniel, what's wrong now?" "Have you talked to Emma lately?" "No, why would I? We email maybe twice a year. You know we're not close." "I think something's wrong." "With Emma?" "With her marriage. I think Trevor is isolating her from me." My sister was quiet for a moment. Then, "Daniel, are you sure about that?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, is it possible you're being a little overbearing? You've always been protective of Emma. Maybe too protective." "I'm her father." "I know. But she's an adult now. She has her own life. Maybe she just needs some space and you're reading too much into it." Someone left me a threatening letter. Threatening? What did it say? I read it to her over the phone. When I finished, she was quiet again. "That doesn't sound threatening," she finally said. "It sounds like someone asking you to respect boundaries." "They spelled my name wrong." "So? Maybe it was a typo. Maybe they're not great at spelling." "Daniel, listen to me. I love you, but you have a tendency to see problems where there aren't any. Remember when Emma started dating that boy in high school and you were convinced he was bad news? You investigated his family. You showed up at his house. You scared the kid so badly he broke up with her." I remembered. Emma had cried for a week. "This is different," I said. "Is it?" "Because it sounds exactly the same to me." We talked for a few more minutes, but I could tell she'd already made up her mind. I was the problem. I was seeing things that weren't there. I needed to back off and let Emma live her life. After we hung up, I sat in my dark house with all the lights off, thinking about the boy from high school. His name was Kevin. He'd been 17, same as Emma. I'd looked him up online and found a photo of him at a party, holding a beer. He was underage, so I'd showed Emma the photo and asked if she really wanted to date someone who made bad decisions. She'd told me it was just a party. Everyone did that. It didn't mean anything. I'd said it meant he had poor judgment, that he was going to drag her down with him, that she could do better. She'd cried and told me I was ruining her life, but they'd broken up anyway. And 6 months later, Kevin had gotten arrested for drunk driving. So I'd been right. Hadn't I? I turned on all the lights in the house again, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with my list of names and crossed off everyone I'd already called. The list was getting shorter. There weren't that many people left who might know what was going on. Trevor's parents lived in Florida. I'd met them at the wedding. Nice people. His father was retired military. His mother taught elementary school. They'd seemed to approve of Emma. I found their number in my old wedding notes and called. Trevor's mother answered. "Hello? Mrs. Callahan? This is Daniel Brennan, Emma's father." "Oh, Daniel, hello. How are you?" "I'm well, thank you. I was hoping to ask you something. Of course. Have you talked to Trevor recently? Just last week, actually. We had a nice long chat. Why do you ask? Did he mention anything about problems? With Emma or with me? A pause. Well, he did mention that you've been calling quite a bit. He said Emma's been feeling a little overwhelmed by it. There it was. They'd already talked to his parents, already shaped the narrative. I'm just trying to stay in touch with my daughter, I said. I understand, but Trevor seemed to think it was causing some stress for Emma. He said she needs some space right now to focus on their marriage. Did he mention anything else? Like what? Like why she might need space? What I supposedly did? Mrs. Callahan's voice got careful. Daniel, I don't want to get in the middle of this. I'm sure you and Emma will work things out. Sometimes family dynamics can be complicated, especially when someone new joins the family. It takes time to adjust. I've known Trevor for 3 years. I know, but being married is different than dating. It changes things. Trevor said Emma feels like she needs to set some boundaries, and I think that's healthy. Don't you? I'd like to hear it from Emma directly. Well, maybe you should try calling her. She won't answer. Then maybe that's your answer, Daniel. Maybe she needs you to respect her silence right now. We talked for a few more minutes, but it was pointless. She'd already decided whose side she was on, or more accurately, Trevor had already convinced her there were sides to take. After I hung up, I looked at my list. 3 names left. Emma's aunt on her mother's side, a cousin I barely knew, and Emma's therapist. I'd forgotten Emma had been seeing a therapist. She'd mentioned it once, about a year ago, said she was working through some things. I'd asked what things, and she'd said it wasn't important, just general stuff. Stress from work, adjusting to married life. I didn't have the therapist's name or number, but I remembered Emma saying she found her through her insurance. I had a copy of Emma's insurance card from years ago, back when she was on my policy. It took me an hour of searching through old files, but I found it. Called the insurance company. Said I was trying to find mental health providers in Emma's network. They gave me a list of names, 12 therapists within 10 miles of Emma's house. I started calling. Most of them wouldn't tell me anything due to privacy laws. But the 8th one, a woman named Dr. Patricia Hendricks, hesitated when I mentioned Emma's name. I'm sorry, I can't confirm or deny whether someone is my patient, she said. I understand. I'm her father. I'm worried about her. I still can't discuss any patients with you. Can you just tell me if she's okay? That's all I want to know. Sir, I really can't. Please, she won't talk to me. Her husband won't let me see her. I just need to know she's safe. Dr. Hendricks was quiet for a long moment. Then, if you're concerned about someone's immediate safety, you should contact the authorities. So you're saying she's not safe? I'm saying that if you have concerns, the appropriate action is to contact the authorities. I cannot and will not discuss any patient information with you. I'm sorry. She hung up. I sat there holding my phone, thinking about what she'd said. If you have concerns, contact the authorities. Was that just standard advice? Or was she trying to tell me something? I didn't call the police. What would I say? My daughter won't answer my calls. That wasn't illegal. Her husband told me to stay away. That was their right. But something was wrong. I knew it the same way you know it's going to rain before the clouds roll in. The same way you know someone is lying before you can prove it. Something was very wrong. I spent 3 days thinking about what I was willing to do. What lines I was willing to cross. How far I was willing to go to save my daughter from a man who was erasing her piece by piece. The answer was, as far as it took. I couldn't contact Emma directly. Couldn't go near her house. Couldn't even be in the same church as her without getting arrested. The legal system had failed. Her family had failed. Her friends had failed. Everyone who should have protected her had either been cut off or convinced that I was the problem. which meant I was on my own, and that meant I needed to change tactics completely. I called Linda again, told her to stop investigating Trevor's past. I had enough information. What I needed now was information about his present, his routines, his vulnerabilities, his weaknesses. Mr. Brennan, that's starting to sound like you're planning something illegal. I'm planning to protect my daughter. By doing what, exactly? I don't know yet, but I need to know everything about Trevor's daily life, where he goes, who he talks to, what he cares about. Linda was quiet for a long moment. I can't be part of anything illegal. If you're planning to hurt him or break any laws, I need to know now so I can withdraw from this case. I'm not going to hurt him. I just need to understand him. That's not a real answer. It's the only answer I have right now. She sighed. 1 week of surveillance. That's all I'm willing to do. I'll follow Trevor, document his routines, take photos. But if anything happens to him after that, if the police come asking questions, I'm turning over everything I have, including my notes from our conversations. Understand? Understood. She followed Trevor for a week, documented everything, gave me a detailed report on Friday afternoon. Trevor's routine was predictable. Up at 6 every morning, left for work at 7:15, construction site until 5:30. 3 nights a week he stopped at Murphy's bar for an hour. The other nights he went straight home. Weekends were quiet, church on Sunday evening, otherwise home with Emma doing yard work or running errands. Nothing unusual, nothing that suggested any vulnerability, except for one thing. Every Thursday night, Trevor went to a gym on the east side of town, spent 2 hours there, came out alone, walked to his truck in an empty parking lot, alone, at 9:30 at night. I studied Linda's surveillance photos. The gym was in an industrial area, no houses nearby, no businesses open that late, just the gym and a few warehouse buildings. It was perfect. Mr. Brennan, Linda said when she handed me the report, whatever you're thinking about doing, don't. You'll end up in prison, and Emma will still be with Trevor. You'll have lost everything for nothing. Thank you for your help, I said. She looked at me like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. Just took her final payment and left. That night, I drove to the gym and parked across the street. Watched Trevor's truck in the lot. At 9:32, he came out, gym bag over his shoulder, earbuds in. He walked to his truck, tossed the bag in the back, climbed in the cab. I watched him drive away. The parking lot had one security camera visible near the gym entrance, none in the back corner where Trevor parked. The street lighting was minimal, plenty of shadows. I could work with that. The next Thursday, I came prepared, black clothes, gloves, a baseball bat from my garage, a mask to cover my face. I parked 2 blocks away and walked to the gym, staying in the shadows. At 9:15, I positioned myself behind a dumpster at the edge of the parking lot where I could see Trevor's truck. Waited. At 9:30, he came out. Same routine, gym bag, earbuds, casual walk to his truck. I stepped out of the shadows as he opened his driver's side door. Trevor! He spun around, saw me. His face went from confusion to recognition to anger in half a second. Daniel? What the hell are you? I swung the bat, not at his head, just his left kneecap, hard enough to shatter bone, hard enough to drop him. He screamed, went down. His gym bag hit the pavement. I stood over him, bat in both hands. You took my daughter from me, I said. Trevor's face was twisted in pain. You're insane. I talked to Jennifer and Rachel. I know what you do. I know how you isolate women, how you control them, how you erase their past so you can rewrite it yourself. I'm calling the police. He reached for his phone. I kicked it out of his hand. It skittered across the parking lot. Emma thinks I'm the problem, I continued. She thinks I'm overbearing, controlling, obsessed. You made her believe that. You turned her against me so she'd only trust you. Because it's true. You are obsessed. Look at what you're doing right now. I raised the bat again. He flinched. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to leave Emma. You're going to tell her you're not happy, that you need space, that you think you moved too fast. Whatever story you need to tell, but you're going to end the marriage. I'm not leaving my wife. Yes, you are. Because if you don't, I'm going to come back. And next time it won't be your knee. You're threatening me. I'm promising you. Trevor tried to stand. His leg buckled. He fell back down, gasping. You broke my leg. Your knee. There's a difference. You're going to prison for this. Maybe, but you're going to leave Emma, and you're going to do it before I get out. I walked away, left him there in the parking lot, injured, his phone 6 feet away. By the time he managed to crawl to it, I was already 2 blocks away, walking back to my truck. I drove home, stripped off the black clothes, burned them in my fireplace along with the gloves, wiped down the bat and put it back in the garage, took a long shower. Then I sat at my kitchen table and waited for the police. They came at midnight. 3 cars, 6 officers. They arrested me in my living room, read me my rights, told me Trevor had identified me, that he'd pressed charges, that I was looking at aggravated assault, possibly attempted murder. I want a lawyer, I said. They took me to jail. I called my lawyer from the station. He showed up an hour later, looking tired and angry. What did you do? He asked. What I had to do. You assaulted him with a baseball bat. I defended my daughter. That's not how the law sees it. You broke a restraining order. You attacked him with a weapon. Mr. Brennan, you're going to prison. 20 years, minimum. Did Trevor mention anything about leaving Emma? My lawyer stared at me. Are you serious right now? You're facing 20 years in prison, and you're asking if your plan worked? Did it? He shook his head. I don't know. I haven't talked to Emma or Trevor beyond getting his statement for the police report. But it doesn't matter, Daniel. You're done. Your life as you knew it is over. Emma's not going to thank you for this. She's going to hate you even more. You've just proven everything Trevor has been telling her about you. He was right. I knew he was right. But I didn't care. Because Trevor was hurt. Trevor was vulnerable. Trevor had been attacked and humiliated, and people in pain make mistakes. People who feel threatened show their true colors. Maybe, just maybe, Emma would finally see him clearly. My lawyer got me bail, but it took every cent I had. My house was collateral. If I ran, I'd lose everything. Not that I planned to run. Where would I go? Emma was here. This was where I needed to be. I went home and waited. For 3 days, nothing happened. No calls, no texts, no word about Emma or Trevor or anything. I was confined to my house with an ankle monitor. If I left, I'd go straight back to jail. On the 4th day, my lawyer called. Trevor's in the hospital, he said. His knee was badly damaged. He's had surgery. He's going to be on crutches for months. Good. Emma is with him. She hasn't left his side. She's telling everyone you're a monster. My chest tightened. Is she okay? She's fine, physically. Emotionally, she's devastated. Daniel, you've made things so much worse. Give it time. Time for what? For Trevor to press charges? For you to go to trial? For Emma to testify against you? That's what's going to happen. She's going to get on the stand and tell the jury that you're dangerous, that you've been stalking her, that Trevor was protecting her from you. You're going to spend the next 2 decades in prison, and Emma is still going to be with Trevor. Maybe. What do you mean, maybe? That's exactly what's going to happen. Trevor's hurt. He can't control her the same way when he's vulnerable. She's going to have to make decisions for herself, take care of him, see him when he's weak. Maybe that'll change something. My lawyer was quiet. Then, Daniel, I think you've lost your mind. I think you've been so focused on saving Emma that you can't see how badly you've destroyed your own life. He was probably right about that too, but I still didn't care.